Full Blast Booking. Some know me as Duece Bug. I was a hip hop artist for 7-8 years, doing my thing, which is pretty much where Full Blast came about. Full Blast started as a movement. We called Full Blast Movement, and we represented everybody underground, you know, graph writers, DJs, hip hop guys, musicians, guitar players, poets, producers. We had sponsorship from UFC fight gear companies and, you know, all the BMX dudes and skaters doing shows at the skate park. We were all about the underground. Everything indie was what Full Blast represented. And I did my thing for many years as an artist. Toured many times up and down the East Coast, as well as to California. Did 6 years on the Vans Warped Tour in a row. And when it came time for me to kind of move on with my life and put all that behind me and go to the next chapter, I decided to turn Full Blast into Full Blast Booking, which is a booking company. Because I've always loved putting on my own events. I've always loved live shows. That's always been the utmost to me, more so than recording music, more so than shooting videos or making beats or whatever. Organizing and executing live music events has always been my passion and my thing. I started Full Blast Booking, and I actually worked for a few venues in Connecticut directly as talent buyer. Actually 3 different venues in about 5 years or so. And then I just basically decided to focus only on touring. I don't do spot shows around Connecticut anymore. I just kind of put tour packages together 3 to 4 times a year and send them on a 10 to 12 date regional tour.
Duece, since last time that I spoke to you, can you tell me a little bit more about booking and your touring?
Yeah, sure. So I believe that was a summer tour, yeah, that you guys came down and we got a little bit of footage under the bridge there.
Yes.
That was BK Bridge in Norwalk, or some legendary graph writers throughout the years. That's going to be some dope footage.
Boom! Chuck Nichols and Duece, we at it again, man. BPT, we be out here. New Haven to the Valley, we be out here. We rage and get rowdy, we be out here. 203 CT, we be out here. So know the BPT, we be out here.
So what's this place?
So we're here right now at what's known as BK Bridge. It's a bridge in Norwalk, Connecticut, underneath where used to be a Burger King there. That's why they call it BK Bridge. It's not even a Burger King there anymore. It's a Starbucks now. This is one of the most known craft spots in Connecticut. Shout out to Fame City and Bridgeport as well, Rampage as well, RIP. This place, for many years, as you can see right here, home to the homies, the best in my opinion, graffiti crew, IOF from Connecticut. Shout out to Pacer, Bell, Schism, shout out to Jet, and Dooley, who's also a very, very, very well-known, legendary underground hip-hop DJ from New Haven. There's a lot of hip-hop under this bridge. There's a lot of ill rap under this bridge at all times. Anytime one of my friends is coming through on tour from another state, I like to bring him here and show him around. Looks like today we got a lot of plagiarism going on, and some haters that are destroying the pieces, which I'm not fond of seeing, but it is what it is. The thing about BK Bridge here is you come back in another week, it'll be all fresh with jobs. New pieces, new bombs, new tags. One of the best spots to just come and chill. My 11-year-old son loves coming here. He caught his first tag here when he was 6. And the river right there, and water. Jam right here. BK Bridge, Connecticut. Find out about it.
You personally, you have a band, you were developing that, now you're moving towards something that you have been doing all along. You want to tell us more about that?
pretty fair assessment, though, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, as many people know, I was a solo artist for many years prior to owning a booking company. In 2015, I decided to kind of retire from being a hip hop solo artist and really focus more on growing my company. I had done a lot of big things from 2008 to 2015. We really proved ourselves and did a lot, especially artists coming from Connecticut. I started Full Blast Crew. We started touring. We had the state on lock, selling out venues and doing really great. We were very much known for our live shows because that's always something I've loved doing is booking shows, even when I was booking my own events as a headlining artist or bringing in headliners to open for or whatever. But, we did a lot. There was a lot of it was becoming routine to me at a certain point because I was able, after a few years, to quit my job. And for like 4 or 5 years, I was a full-time artist. That's what I did. I traveled, I toured the country, I put out music, and I'm lucky enough to say that I was able to handle my business, pay my bills, child support, everything, just off music. That was great, but once it becomes like an obligation, it loses flavor a little bit. And I was getting really frustrated with certain elements of it. I also really wanted to focus on finding the right relationship because I was, getting a little up there in age and I really wanted to like get right with that. And for years, I wasn't really having much luck in that area. So I felt like being a rapper was not helping that much. And I also got a job opportunity rather where I was able to actually make some good, consistent money for once. It was going to be hard for me to do all of those things at the same velocity at the same time. So I decided to retire and put it behind me and focused on growing my company. I turned Full Blast into a booking company and really have done great booking other artists throughout the last 5 years, putting a lot of tour packages together, tours with headliners, totally indie lineups. We did a whole tour on the Vans Warped Tour where I was able to book like 16 indie artists from Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York. We went coast to coast. We've done California and up and down the East Coast. And more importantly, my personal life is a lot more stable now. I've found the woman of my dreams that I've been living with for several years now. And things with my son are great. Things with my family and my home are great. Company's doing well. So the only thing that has been a little rocky for me of late is the band. It's been really hard to find committed members that really want to be in a band with me rather than doing it as a favor or doing it for the show opportunities or whatever. And we've had so many member changes and it's been frustrating and I'm kind of just over it. So I've decided that Duddy Winehouse is dead and Deuce Bug is back. And I am going to re-emerge as a solo hip hop artist, get back to doing shows with my bro Chuck Nichols and Full Blast Crew and DJ Funk Sway, and hopefully get all my homies from all over the country like Simple and Ross May in California, The Live Show in Cali, and all my homies up here on the Northeast and rock with them now as an artist again, not just a business guy putting the tours together. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And now that I'm stable, it's going to be a little different approach because for once I want to do it. It's going to be fun for me again. So I'm really looking forward to that.
How have you been able to manage touring or your professional life? How have you grown into this?
Well, it's touring is out, I mean, it's just impossible. I'm used to booking a tour with 10 to 12 shows, and I book 3 or 4 tours a year and some spot shows. And one literally we squeaked in right before the pandemic. Like the last date of the tour, I believe, was like March 15th. So it was about a year ago. We were very lucky to get that in. I had a great tour, but obviously COVID slowed everything down. I think I've booked 6 shows in the last calendar year. So it's
Wow.
rough, I've been fortunate enough to be able to book shows throughout COVID, one of the few doing it in the area, but they come with a ton of restrictions. Anyone who is attempting any kind of indie tour right now is most likely going to be met with a lot of criticism for not being safe, being, reckless. I'm not even going to try that, especially in the landscape of cancel culture and everything these days. And I've seen a few promoters' names get really dragged through the mud the past year for just trying to do what they do. And I'm really fortunate that hasn't happened to me. I've been very careful to take the right avenues and do it the right way. It's challenging for sure. COVID really put did a number on us in the music industry and many other industries too. But we've been doing what we can because we know a lot of people need it for their own mental health and their own sanity. For those that can do without it, I still encourage waiting it out until it's 100% safe. Much like other ways of life or your job or your essentials that you go out for. To some people, live music is that essential. So to those people, I wanted to provide something for them and continue to do what I do and what I love to do. And it's been met with a lot of support, and I'm glad for that. Starting next week, I have a series, which is a fundraiser or a big tour that I partnered with Mental Health Connecticut to present, and it had to be postponed twice now because of COVID. So I've been booking fundraisers in the meantime until the warm weather happens, and then I've got plans for some other things this spring and summer. And so I got 3 shows in 3 separate states that are a little more than 3 weeks apart. So it's like they can quarantine if they need to, they can get testing, there's plenty of time in between. They're not traveling state to state every night because that's just out right now. That's a no-no, and everyone knows it. I kind of came up with the next best thing, which is this series that's hitting Massachusetts, New York, New Hampshire, most likely Connecticut in June for some outdoor events and some private events. All of my shows that I've had throughout the last calendar year have been completely COVID compliant. I did a whole outdoor series for the Klein Theater in Bridgeport that was great. It was so well done by them, very safe and amazing music. And I rented a movie theater in January to do a private show that sold out. It was super safe, great show. We did very well. We raised some funds for the charity. In 2019, I partnered with Mental Health Connecticut, which is an organization out of Connecticut. They have several locations across the state. They work with the larger division of Mental Health America, which is another great organization. It's a nonprofit focusing on mental health management, awareness of a lot of issues that are in that world, as well as, suicide prevention. And they're very community based. They have a lot of love for the arts, and they use the arts. They have painting classes and acting and all sorts of things that I've seen them promote, that they really, really do a lot of work in the community to teach, to raise awareness. And it's all for a great cause, especially now that we've seen the effects of mental health because of COVID. And, I think that it's now in the light more than ever. But ironically, prior to COVID, I had partnered with them to present a charity tour called Tour for Life that I've been putting together in my head for several years now. So it was supposed to be a 4-city tour: New York City, Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, Massachusetts, and New Haven, Connecticut. And I raised over $20,000 for it. And I'm still totally in fundraiser mode because there's still a lot to happen, but I've postponed it twice now because of COVID. And looks like this summer I might be able to pull it off with some outdoor situations, as long as things continue to go in the right direction as far as the phase 3s and the lifts of the mandates and everything. So it looks like it's going to happen, and I haven't formally announced it yet, but it's got some great headliners. It's multi-genre, it's hip hop, it's rock, punk rock, reggae, ska. It's got DJs, special guests, and some great venues. And it's just sucks that COVID happened, and right when I was ready to launch this thing, and I've had to put it off. And luckily, Mental Health Connecticut has remained very, very supportive. Big shout out to them. Much love to them. Look out for all of our announcements coming soon. It's going down. Tour for Life is happening. And when you guys see the lineups that I have put together for this, you're going to freak out because it's awesome. So look out for that.
Come on the camera. Take a shot with me. Yo, we here. The 2 amigos back at it again. South Carolina CT Connect. Full Blast Booking, man. Facebook, fullblastmovement@gmail.com for anybody who wants to get in touch with me. What about you, bro? What's your social media handle, bro?
Alright, Simple MC is everything. Simple MC is everything.